What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Uncomplicated Podcast. Here with Jules
And Lily.
and Lily.
Your hosts.
Your host,
You
Lily.
You started the host thing last week.
Did I? Anyways.
Yeah, so you gotta keep it up.
Yeah, okay. Just a quick reminder who we are. We are personal trainers who want to share with the world how to live a healthy life. And that's why we're doing this podcast. We also like to share relationship stuff. Well, Lily likes to share relationship stuff.
Yes. More in the future, though.
Yeah, because we do have something good going on. It's just a little glimpse into us, who we are, why we like to do this, and what kind of information you would get if this is the first episode that you stumble upon.
Yes, there's a lot more.
So go back and listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, what are we going to talk about today?
I'm gonna be asking you questions.
Yeah? Oh.
Two specific ones.
About what?
About, you could say nutrition, what to eat with two different types of goals, or...
Okay.
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 What to eat?
Well...
Donuts. Eat lots of donuts.
No. Depends what your goal is, but like...
I mean,
if it's health, no.
Donuts rarely fit into a goal.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we'll be a little bit more specific on, it's not just like what to eat, but I was like, one of the questions I wanted you to answer is what to look for when you're grocery shopping. It's more that, being a little bit more specific, but then we can also go into what to eat. But yeah, so what to look for when you're grocery shopping and one of your goals is to lose weight.
Okay, so you're grocery shopping, your goal is to lose body fat or weight, whichever.
Let's go with body fat.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time they go hand in hand, but yeah, let's just say lose body fat. And then you're at the grocery store and you're wondering, what should you buy? That's your question?
What should you look for? Yeah.
What should you look for?
Like, if you're going in every single section, like you start with the bakery section, and then you go into meats, and then you go into the aisles and the milk products.
Yeah. I mean, there's two ways to approach it, in my opinion. And just to put it out there, everything I'm going to say today is basically my opinion, backed with experience and some research. I am not a professional in this topic, but I do have some experience. Now, that being said, there's two ways to approach it. You can go the healthy route, or you can go the tracking calories, knowing what goes into your body route, which gives you a little bit more flexibility with choices. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you which route?
Please. Which one would you like me to elaborate on?
Let's just go with the tracking macros in a way.
Okay. All right. So, if you go the route of having more flexibility with your options when you grocery shop and when you eat and all of that stuff, what remains important is, first of all, the protein. You need to make sure you hit your protein, and the best way to make sure that happens is to pick foods that are higher in protein. Examples. If you know you eat wraps, we buy wraps that are a little bit higher in protein than other wraps. That helps reach your protein goal. If you're, buying yogurt, well, look for the Greek yogurt. That's a little bit higher in protein. That will help you reach your goals. And then those are like simple things. So it's like, look for things that are a little bit richer in protein. That's tip number one. So if you're hesitating between two, just pick the one that has more protein in it. Tip number one.
Okay.
Yeah? Check?
Check.
Do you have anything to add on that? Any
No, like
you'll add at the end?
potentially, yeah. We'll
Okay.
see. Yeah.
Tip number 2. Again, if we go to the flexibility route, the flexibility of choosing foods, different foods, and having the ability to be a little bit more flexible with those choices, I would look at calorie content. Again, same thing. If you're hesitating between two breads, let's say, or two yogurts, or two, it's like, should I buy the 5% yogurt or the 0% yogurt? One thing you can look at is first protein. Second is calories per serving. So if I just go off memory, I think if you look at a higher percentage fat yogurt, it'll be a little bit higher calories per serving than the 0%. Same with milk. Now, that being said, they do have to add more carbs in order to balance it out. And all that means is the carbs will be a little bit higher on 0% and a little lower on the 2 to 5%. But why the calories are lower is because fats is generally more calorie dense than carbs. So that's another thing I would check is, yeah, the calories per serving. Another thing with, like, example, yogurt, if you look at the pre-flavored ones versus the plain one, there's going to be a difference in calories there also, because they need to add sugars and carbs and stuff like that to make it taste a certain way. So there you will see a difference there also. So just keep that in mind. I would always buy the plain and sweeten it with either stevia at home, like those 0 calorie maple syrups, or like even honey. Like, just do that instead of buying the already sweetened one. It's pretty much that. It's like, look at calories, look at protein, and that way you can fit pretty much any food into your diet as long as you know what is what.
What if your higher protein stuff has more calories in it? Does it matter? So like my bread,
Yeah.
my wrap, I pick the protein, the one with the more protein in it, but then it has a lot more calories. Or is that a thing?
I mean, it definitely is a thing because more of something will add calories. I would say for a bread, let's say, it is primarily a carb source. So I would even say, if you really worry about that specifically, just worry about the calories, because you're not eating bread to reach specifically your protein goals.
Yeah.
So I would just worry about the calorie content then, and then make sure that you do eat enough protein with your other things. What are some good protein sources?
Meat.
Meat, exactly. And that'll be a big source of your food, and if you're vegetarian or vegan, that's obviously going to make it a little bit harder, but it's not impossible. Just, again, look at the nutrition facts, look at the nutrition labels, and make educated choices based on the amount of protein per serving.
Would you tell somebody that's looking to lose body fat or just weight loss to avoid a certain section in the grocery store?
Not because they're bad for you, but try to avoid nuts and seeds just because they add up so fast. Ultimately, they are good for you. It's just the amount that a normal person would eat, it would make things add up so quickly. And obviously, if you have a weakness for cookies, and bakery and muffins and donuts, and like just don't go there.
Yeah.
Try and find a recipe online that allows you to have a protein version of those donuts or cookies or something that you can make at home that'll be delicious. Now, will it taste as good as those cookies from the bakery section? No, it will not. But you're trying to lose weight, so you got to make some sacrifices. And if we're saying that your sacrifices, instead of eating cookies from the bakery section, is like make your own, add a little bit more protein and eat those, like it's not that big of a sacrifice.
No.
Like I'm not saying never eat cookies again. I'm just saying make them your own and make sure that they fit into your plan. And when you go into the meat section, it's the same thing. Like if you look at ground beef, let's say lean ground beef versus extra lean ground beef, big difference in calories, big difference in fat content, big difference that can add up over time. And I think it's a big thing. So like choosing leaner type meats will help you kind of achieve those goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we go back to like you said nuts and seeds, right? Yeah. So that's a huge thing for like, especially nowadays, I feel like for females, there's a lot of that whole seed cycling with your cycle, and like I don't know if they're part of the Mediterranean, but anyways, a lot of like people are saying like, oh, like have almonds, have nuts and seeds, like that's what's gonna, those are healthy fats and all that.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's like the amount you eat, like it's super small. Like the what's it called? The
Serving size.
The serving size, yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually super small. So, and if you double that or triple that, like now you're like past your fats, like on a whole other level. Like,
Yeah.
and usually a lot of people will eat their seeds and their nuts with other things too, like trail mixes and all that. So it's kind of that you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I know for a lot of females right now, it's big. It's like the whole seed cycling. It's like, it's super good for you, but like just know how much you're putting in.
Exactly. Just know how much you're eating, so that way you can balance it out with other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for the cookies, I think what helps me, because every time I would make my own cookies or like higher protein or like healthier, let's say, quotation marks, people that I would go like look up on, they'll be like, oh, these are so good, like they're so yummy, and then I would make them and I'd be like, these aren't so yummy. But the issue is that like in my head I'm like, oh, it's gonna be exactly like a chocolate chip oatmeal cookie. Like,
Yeah. No.
and it's really not. So I think having the mindset that like it's not about that it's gonna taste the same thing, it's more about that you're getting a cookie.
You're eating a cookie, yeah.
A treat. And I think, and the more you do it, I promise you, the better the things start tasting.
Well, yeah.
Like the first time you're gonna taste the protein, you're gonna taste the banana that's not that whatever the sugar, and you're eating a banana versus a sugar. Like you'll taste it, but after a while you'll be like, oh, this is good. Like
yeah, the first time you go off sugar, or every time you go off sugar, things that are normally sweet, naturally sweet, don't taste sweet because you're so used to sugar. So it takes a while for your taste buds to adapt. And then when you're off sugar for a while, you eat like a strawberry and you're like, holy shit, this is sweet. Like, so you got to keep that in mind also. Smaller changes will have the impact of you not tasting things as sugary as they would normally because you're so used to sugar, because it's super addictive and a drug. But we just don't talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. What about alcohol and sugary drinks?
I mean, alcohol in general, if you're looking to lose weight, I would just cut it out completely. No and ifs or buts. Just like if you're serious about your health, cut it out. It's plain and simple.
Yeah, I've heard that, like, I've heard this many times that it was a podcast I was listening to, and he said, I had like how do I say this? His clients lost a lot of weight by just cutting alcohol and pops,
Mm-hmm.
like non-diet pops out of there, and they lost so much weight just by doing that.
Yep.
So it's like you go for the diet drinks, the 0 calorie drinks, the zero sugar, sorry, or 0 calories.
0 calories, yeah.
Makes a huge difference.
Huge.
If you don't know how much you're actually probably drinking, especially if you drink it every day.
Yeah. And it's also like, we're not saying to replace your water intake with 0 calorie drinks. Like, if you only drink 0 calorie drinks, it's not gonna be good.
No.
Like, it's not gonna be good. You still gotta drink your water. You still gotta, like, so it's not replacing your water. It's just, if ever you're having one, just make sure it's 0 calories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you're going like people people will be like, I want to go super healthy, no process.
Yeah.
Like, what do you look for if you're trying to lose weight? Like,
One ingredient foods. That's all you gotta look for.
oh yeah,
Foods that have a one ingredient.
that's intense.
Not really.
Well, you're probably just staying in not even the like
It's,
fruits and veggies section and meats, and like that's all
well,
you're
yeah,
probably not.
potatoes, rice.
Yeah.
Like, you just, like, if you absolutely cannot go without bread, there are breads out there that are like minimal, like 4 ingredients
Yeah.
that you could get. But if you're really looking for, because the issue with this approach is you don't know how much you're taking in.
Yeah.
You're just eating to eat, and you're like picking things that have one ingredient.
Yeah.
So it's easier in a way, but it takes away the flexibility of choices. Because if you're like, I want a cookie, or I want ice cream, or I want, like, tough luck, it's not one ingredient. So it takes away that freedom. So, but it's super healthy.
Yeah.
Like, your body will thank you.
Yeah.
Now, you may not get ultimately, you may not get the weight loss results that you want, but health wise, you're going to be extremely healthy.
Yeah.
And that might get you more of what you're looking for in terms of results, in a way.
Yeah.
Because your skin's going to be better, your hair's going to be better, like, everything's going to just look better. So, yeah.
So you've been a trainer for how long?
7,
Like,
almost 8 years, yeah.
Out of all like your clients that you've had,
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of them weight loss goals. Most
Yep.
of them probably. What which ones saw the most results? Like that took a diet or like that changed their way of eating, either like flexibility wise, like that way, or that went just full out healthy. Like who saw the most results and that's stuck if you have any.
Yeah, so I have two that come to mind, one of each. And one was like not even on purpose, because they had digestion issues.
Mm-hmm.
So they were very limited by their condition on what they could eat.
Yeah.
And they're kind of stuck to like eating like one ingredient foods most of the time. and they lost 70 pounds, close to 70 pounds. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they had a health condition, which was the motivating factor
Yeah.
to eating this way.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if I decide to eat anything else, I'm going to feel like shit.
Yeah.
So, like, that's a strong motivator.
Yeah.
The other person was a little bit more flexible, and it was like, how can I say this? Not a diet plan, not a nutrition plan either, but I gave him specifics. I'm like, all right, each meal is going to look like this: bang, 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 bang. And they followed it to a T, because they told me, they were like, just tell me what to do, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. They followed it to a T. They went from, like, I think 28% body fat to, I think it was 13 at the very end. So that was huge. And they were able to enjoy certain things a little bit more while still achieving their goals. So it works both ways. You can definitely get it done both ways. It's just one will allow you to manipulate certain things in order to get treats every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What else did you want to know?
Well, it's more just like, is there one way, like, or has some clients like tried both and seen more results with one, or like kept the results?
It's so hard because most clients are not, they don't want to track. They don't want to know what they're eating. They just want somebody to tell them, do this, don't do that. That's all they want. And then even when they do get somebody to tell them, do this, don't do that, they'll still do the don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, they don't want the changes that bad.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not willing to do the things to make the changes, which is very unfortunate.
Is there a way to reach those goals without switching your nutrition?
No. Because what you are currently doing has led you to where you are. So if you're not going to change anything.
Yeah, but if you're trained, like, if we don't talk about nutrition,
What do
like,
you
could
mean?
you exercise it?
No.
If you start exercising, working out, like, or walking every day or something.
You'll see some changes.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you won't see the changes that you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this saying that you can't out exercise a bad diet is very true. Like, it takes 3,500 calorie deficit to lose 1 pound of fat every week. That's 500 a day. Most people are not exercising to burn 500 extra calories a day. And for that even to happen, they would have to be so consistent with their foods that it would add up to 500 calories a day. Because most people, what happens is one day they eat, let's say, 2,000, the other day they eat 2,400, the other day they eat 1,800, the other day they eat 2,700. Like, it fluctuates so much. So you can't even depend on that to be like, well, if I burn 500 calories a day exercising, I will lose 1 pound at the end of the week. Because it's like, you're not even sure if you're going to reach that 3,500 calories burned. Like, in theory, yes, but if you're overeating on some days, that will just diminish the amount of calories that you burn.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's no easy way to do it. It is hard work. You will have to work hard. You will have to make some sacrifice, and you will have to feel what feeling hungry feels like, especially if you want to lose weight. Those times where you'll be like, I'm freaking starving, but that's just normal. That's part of the process. Your body getting used to this new caloric intake when it's used to so much more.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything to add?
Add?
Yeah. No?
I don't have. I think the biggest thing I would have to say is that people, like, just because, and this might be negative or not, but I was thinking about it for last podcast, but it's like people might not like what we say or how we say it, and it'd be like on, but like there's a like it. They might have issues with like macros and like counting calories, and like it might bring up bad things, but it's like, which is like I get it, and there's probably other ways to do it, but it's like this is the way, this is how, if you want to achieve like body fat loss, like you got to change something. Like
Yeah.
there's no easy way of doing it. There's no, unfortunately. But what are you like? What are your goals right now? Are you cutting, bulking, trying to?
Experimenting.
That doesn't help me.
I don't think. Yeah, I'm not trying to do either. I'm trying to be as healthy as possible. That's my goal right now. I just want to feel good.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
if you were trying to lose body fat,
Yeah.
what would be your like first, your like high protein snack that you would go for? That is like decently okay, tastes good, that I would like.
I don't snack if I try to lose weight because there's no room for snacks. I eat meals.
So you wouldn't have any of those like rice cakes with peanut butter?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I would eat 4 to 5 meals a day. Meals.
Okay.
Meals.
Interesting.
Yeah.
4 to 5 if
4
you're
to
trying
5.
to lose weight.
Yes.
That's a lot of meals. No?
No.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, it would be 4 to 5 meals where there's a protein source. There's like lots of greens because that's what's going to fill you up, and they are low in calories. And I would have probably 2 of those meals be with 2 or 3 be with vegetables, and then 2 be with fruit. That's what I would do. But the main thing would be protein, vegetables, protein fruits, protein vegetables, protein fruits, protein vegetables. That would be the main thing. And now if I want to add extras like rice and potatoes and stuff like that, then I would sprinkle it in wherever it works. But that's what I would do. I wouldn't, because the goal is to be filled up. Like you want to feel like you're not always hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So by eating those bigger meals with lots of vegetables, it's just gonna fill you up more.
The fats, healthy fats.
Well, yeah, those are usually added in. But that's just what I do. I would either, like on purpose, pick a fattier meat.
Okay.
That way I don't need to add fats.
Okay.
But again, that's me after years and years of experimenting.
Yeah. Well, what would you do? What would you tell me like my meals ish should be? Me that likes food, and it needs to taste kind of yummy, and I would want to lose weight. What would you?
I'd do the same thing. I'd be like 4 to 5 meals a day. Protein with veggies. And then one meal would be protein, carbs, and veggies. And then the other meals would be protein, fruits, protein, and fruits. That's what I would say.
Would I be allowed to have ice cream or cookies?
1 day a week for one meal, yes.
For a meal, it would be a meal.
Well,
Oh yeah.
you know what I mean.
1 day a week, eh?
Yeah.
Damn, that's tough.
And then we'd see how your body responds to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we have to get away from the notion of I'm trying to lose weight, I need to eat less. It's like, yes, you need to eat less calories, but you should still eat a lot. Because if you're hungry all the time, it's going to suck.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you may not be eating a lot of the things that you like, but you still need to eat a lot of food. But it's just calorie-wise, it's going to be less because you're eating foods that are not calorie dense. It's the only difference. And if you're bulking, it's the opposite. Eat a lot of food that are calorie dense.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, at the end of the day, it's not difficult. Like, it's very simple.
Yes.
It's a very simple thing. But, sorry, it's not complicated. It's
Yeah.
very simple, but it is difficult.
Yeah.
Because it is routine, it is bland, it is, like, boring sometimes.
And a lot of people are going to be like, just eat these chips.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
And I've actually, I found myself, because I've been listening to a lot more, but like with you, like experimenting with your stuff, sometimes I'll be eating something and I'll be like, just have it. And I found myself doing that. And it's just because, I'll be honest, sometimes I'm just like, but I'm not doing that. And I have goals and I'm like,
Yeah.
he's doing it. And I'm just like, I feel bad. It makes,
Uh-huh.
and it's just, it happens.
Yeah.
So you gotta be strong like Jules.
Yeah, I'm not even at my strongest. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I used to be like insane, but now that I understand food a little bit more, I can allow myself to be a little bit more flexible because I know where to get it back.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you gotta be strong. You gotta. But if you told me, be like, look, I'm doing this, you need to stop asking me to
Yeah.
and I could respect that because you would like I remembered it. I'm like, I have to.
yeah,
I gotta be a little bit more, take a step back because I saw myself doing it or yeah. So, but you could have also been like, if you were really strict, you could have been like, I can't do that. Like you can't offer me this. Like I told you, I'm like, if I decide to cut out something, like we can't have it
in the house.
because like I won't be able to control myself.
Yeah.
And hopefully you would respect that, which I know you would. But
Yeah.
like other that's what you gotta sometimes set, I guess, boundaries with if you're living with somebody that doesn't want to lose weight or isn't on
Yeah.
the same track as you. You gotta be like, well, I can't do this without, if we're not both on the same, like if you can't help me out a little bit, because you do live
Yeah.
with like other people sometimes. So
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's also the person that's going through these changes. It's also like, yes, it's gonna be hard, but if your partner's not on board, it's also realizing like I can't ask them to do this with me if they're not ready. Also, so you have to
Yeah.
be considerate that they're gonna want to eat things that you can't eat
Yeah.
or that you don't want to eat because they're gonna go against what you're trying to do.
yeah.
So it's not necessarily that you can't eat it because you can. It's just if you do, it's not gonna help you. But it's like if they're not willing to make those changes and those sacrifices, as much as it'd be good for them to be like, look, I'll work with you. At the same point, you got to realize I can't ask them to do it if they don't want to do it. So you got to be extra strong in those situations and just be like,
Yeah.
Like-
we'll find tricks to work together. Like you could always
Exactly.
be like, well, I'm gonna get this tonight. So
Yeah.
be prepared. And it's
yeah,
like, at least,
or like eat it out of the house. Eat it when you know that your partner's not going to be there.
yeah.
Like just stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's going shopping with the kid later. All right, I'm going to order a burger.
Yeah.
Like you can do that.
Yeah.
So just make sure there's no leftovers.
Yeah.
Because I think we both have a responsibility to each other to respect each other's decisions on this topic. Because I think as much as it's unfair for the other person to bring in trash food.
It's not fair if they're like, well, I don't want to make those
Yeah.
changes. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think slowly that affects the relationship. Especially if they're both in a situation where they wouldn't need to.
Yeah.
And one is like, okay, I'm going to, and the other one's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I think the dynamic after a while will change.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes, yeah. And sometimes it can still be a good thing. Like you started doing these little changes. And then at first I'm like, like, how am I going to do this? But it's also
Yeah, because it was like, I would prepare my food and you're like, I'm like, what? I don't know what to eat. There's nothing to eat. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, there's this. And
Oh,
it's just like,
yeah. But now I'm just like, okay, well, if he's doing it, I'm like, maybe I can start making some changes and like thinking of other ways, which I have been like a little bit trying to figure out ways of not eating as much because you're kind of going lower on carbs, and I'm trying to pick and choose the carbs.
Yeah,
I don't want to say what you're doing yet, so that maybe we can talk about it later on.
Well, we can talk about it now.
But you're still experimenting.
Yeah, but I'm pretty much done experimenting.
But I want to talk also about muscle gain.
What about it?
Well, the same thing, but for muscle gain.
Is the same thing applies, except now instead of being in a calorie deficit, you're looking at eating at maintenance or even in a calorie surplus.
But you gotta exercise.
Well, yeah. I thought that was included.
Well, you don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Because technically we're talking about nutrition.
Muscle building, yeah, you gotta work out. You gotta lift some weights.
Yeah.
And you can't half-ass it. You gotta push hard.
Yeah. But that's important.
You gotta push your body to that changing point. You can't just expect that, oh, I lifted weights today, my body's gonna change. Nah, like if you're not pushing it to its limit, it's not gonna change.
Yeah.
And building muscle is difficult.
Yeah. It's harder than what, especially females out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder than you think.
Yes.
It doesn't happen overnight. The women that are one jacked, that they're like, you can see their biceps and shoulders, and it's like, one, they're flexing. So that's why they look bulky most of the time. Usually those women just look like you can tell that they work out, but it's not like, oh, she looks like a man.
Yeah.
Two, they've probably been at it for years.
Yeah.
Or they're getting extra help, but usually it's because they've been at it for like a very long time. But yeah, well, like I want to talk a little bit about the groceries in a way of like, is there something? What would you look for when you're grocery shopping? What would you be making sure of doing or adding to your?
Nothing to add. I would stick to the same things, except now you're going to be able to eat more of those same things.
Yeah, so higher protein.
Yeah. Still check those calories, and still, because you don't want to gain an excessive amount of body fat on top of the muscle.
Yeah. You
still want to be relatively healthy. So still maintain calories, but let's say, like, example, instead of, I don't know, eating eating one sandwich with the bread that you buy that's lower calorie, you're going to eat 2 sandwiches. Like, yeah. And if you get to a point where you're trying to build muscle, and you're eating and you're eating and you're eating and you're eating and you're eating, and your weight's still potentially going down, then it would be a good idea to switch to more calorie dense options. So let's say now the bread that you buy, that you used to buy, just buy a bread that's a little bit higher in calories and do the same thing. Eat 2 sandwiches. This is just an example, but like, yeah. So you're not changing that much other than you're eating more calories with the choices that you've made. So in terms of like hunger, you're not necessarily eating more food. You're just eating more calories, which is at the end of the day exactly what you want if you're trying to build. So it's kind of like the reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now we have to exercise. So if somebody's trying to build muscle,
Yeah.
how many times a week should they be strength training?
I mean, anywhere from, I'd say, 3 to 6, depending on how intense you go, how intense your workouts are, how deliberate you are when you work out. Like, there's so many factors.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not intense about your workouts, you can work out 7 days a week and your body's going to be okay. But if you go all out, you can't go all out 7 days a week. So you might have to go down to 3. Yeah. And I would recommend doing, if you're training 2-3 times a week, do full body workouts. If you're training 6 to 7 days a week, then you want to do those splits, like push pull legs, something like that. But that's just food and working out. You gotta make sure you sleep. You gotta make sure you recover. You gotta make sure, like, it's so many things.
But it's doable.
100%. A lot of people have done it. It's definitely doable. But if you want to maximize your results, you gotta pay attention to all these things. Now, the question that I have for myself, technically, and is to make you guys think at the same time, is should you do a cut bulk cycle?
That's a very interesting question.
Is that necessary?
Yeah. Because I see it a lot.
You see it a lot.
I mean, it's like always the season of bulking versus the season of cutting.
So if you're thinking of bulking, but you've never done a cut before, you don't even know if you have the willpower to lose that weight in the first place.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, are you just going to bulk and then forever be your bigger self?
Yeah.
Because you won't have the willpower to cut. Like, because that would be everybody's worst nightmare in a way. They're trying to get more muscles, more built, more defined, and then they just end up being bigger, like fatter.
Yeah.
Because they thought bulking was the way to go. So I would highly recommend you to do a 12-week cut before even going on a bulk. Because then you know what it takes to cut. Now, I'm not saying that you need to lose 30 pounds. I'm just saying aim for like a pound a week at the most. So you lose highest 12 pounds. So if you have no weight to lose, 12 pounds, it's not going to be that much. You're just going to be extra shredded.
Yeah.
And especially if you're just starting off, being in a calorie deficit and working out will still allow you to build muscle because of those like newbie gains where they just happen. You touch a weight and you get results, especially at first. So that's what I would do. Because I've heard a lot of people saying like, oh, I'm looking to build muscle, and then you look at them, it's like, but you have a beer gut. So like bulking is not a good idea. So let's start by making sure you can and want to lose weight. And if we manage that, then we can look into bulking, build muscle so that we can lose it again. So it's my opinion and theory on bulk and cut. If you're just looking to build muscle and maintain good size and good results and leaner physique, then just do a maintenance phase. Don't bulk, don't cut. Just eat at maintenance for a long period of time. So make sure your weight kind of just stays somewhat. And then if you gain like 1 pound a month, that's totally fine. Very likely muscle. So nothing to feel bad about that.
So.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, if I just for me,
Yeah.
because I told you like I want to grow legs and a bum.
Yeah.
But I've never done a cut before.
Yeah, so just eat at maintenance. Figure out what your body needs to stay the same. And keep doing that, just high protein. And then just keep doing that. And then eventually your weight will slowly like creep up little by little. We're talking about like like if 1 pound a month is like, that would be good.
Because it's muscle.
Yes.
Probably.
Very likely. And it is hard to gain muscle. Sorry. It's hard to gain muscle. Like some people talk like, or hear athletes and Hollywood stars say like, oh, he gained 20 pounds of muscle in 12 weeks. It's like, no, he did not. And if he did, we all know what it took for that to happen.
Yeah.
So that's how you got to look at it. Is that it? That's all your questions?
I think so.
The host of today's podcast has ran out of questions for me. So all in all, what we talked about is if you're looking to lose body fat, lose weight, just keep your protein high. Look at different options of the same food that have lower calories for the same portion. So that way you're not eating less, but you're eating less. And then opposite goes if you're trying to gain weight or build muscle. And then should you even bulk is the other thing we talked about. And like I said, just consider dieting for a while. Trying to lose a little bit of weight for a while. See how that goes. And if you can do that, then yes, go ahead. Bulk up. Because you know you can do what needs to be done to lose it afterwards. It's pretty much what we covered, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on that note, that was a lot of information. We'll
was.
leave you to it. I hope you had your notepad ready to take all these notes. There's a lot of secret nuggets in there. If you like Lily as a host to ask me questions, just let us know in the comments and we'll continue this style. But if you're tired of hearing me talk and want to hear a little bit more about Lily, just tell us also.
Okay.
On that note, see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.